morning. This is Trie, and this is Morning Mind Dump. Good morning, my beautiful souls. Welcome to another episode of Morning Mind Dump with Trie, where I unravel messy thoughts in my head and dump them and into your mind. And so you can think about it. I am Trie, your host for this journey of introspection and discovery. This morning I want to talk about fear-based decisions. Yep, we've all been there, right? The moment when fear grasps us really, really, really tight and tells us, don't do it, or don't take that leap, stay safe, be comfortable, don't go out of your comfort zone, give you every reason why it's not going to work or whatever you're doing is not a good idea. I hate it because it always makes me overthink shit, Yeah, I know it all too well. But let me personal story without much detail, but just imagine, after 17 years of marriage, you wake up one day and it's all your partner makes a decision and you don't know if that's the first time they made that wrong decision, but being present at that moment made a wrong decision that changed both of your lives forever. And I had to decide, do I stay? Do we work it out? Do I go? I can no longer trust that person. He and I discussed it when we were dating, that was the one thing that I would never compromise on, and that would hurt me the most. And I thought he was my best friend. And I thought I knew him. And obviously I didn't, because I never thought in a million years that he could have hurt me as much as he did. And it's taken me, 4 years to really be comfortable without getting emotional and crying and but honestly, I know that everything happens for a reason. At the time when you're going through something heavy like that, you're just like, why me, right? And it's scary. Change is scary. But I've talked about this in the other episodes about just people growing, apart from each other. And it's okay, eventually, you know. But obviously, it takes time to work through that. But it was terrifying. It was terrifying to start from ground zero, not knowing, like, it was in the middle of COVID. Or so there was all these uncertainties, and honestly, I had to make my own decisions. And I had to stop overthinking, and I had needed to think about what was best for me. And I had to keep reminding myself, what is best for me? What do I want? What do I need? Like, how am I going to move forward? I had all these decisions to make, all on my own this time. Like, before, I couldn't just bounce it off my spouse because that was not an option anymore. Yeah, and it sucked. It sucked that I had to stay for 4 months because of COVID, and I had no savings, personal savings. Yeah, that was not the best time in my life, but I'm sharing the story with you because, yes, shit happens, and it's devastating, but you have to, just keep moving forward. And again, what's in your best interest? What's going to be good for you? What do you want? You go on this whole journey. I didn't know who I was anymore. I had conformed literally several times to the things that he wanted, and I didn't even know what I wanted, from life. And every day felt uncertain. It felt, the fear of not having a constant companion with me, gave me a lot of insecurities of how I was going to survive without a person. My person was a lot. It was a lot to bear at the time. But amidst all this fear of how my life was going to be now without this person, I also had hope. I'm like, okay, well, who am I? What do I want? What makes me happy? And these are things that I just keep gravitating towards instead of conforming to everybody else and what they think I should do. I'm just pushing forward of the things that I want to do and the person that I want to be. And what's aligning with my truest desires, right? So I took a chance. I embraced all the uncertainty. I didn't know where I was going. I found an amazing apartment, and I couldn't afford to live on my own, but I did find an amazing apartment on a 53-acre farm during COVID. It had always been my dream to live on a farm. And so that was like my first taste of, all right, this is a reflection of me. The place where I'm living is a reflection of me. And that was the start of moving forward, starting over, starting fresh. So I, of course, was able to be in nature more, which is what I always loved. But, working a 9 to 5 job all the time, I didn't have that ability. So I took advantage of COVID and took that time to really dig deep and figure out, or start to figure out, who I was and what I wanted to be, and how I wanted to move forward. Every step forward, I discovered a resilience I never knew I had. I explored passions. I just took any opportunity I could, and once I left the farm because it was being sold, I had some friends who were gracious enough to, and they were new friends, offered me a place to stay, and I was grateful. At the time, I was still grieving with my divorce, right? Still trying to figure out who I was. At the time, I was drinking heavy. So any money I had, was to go out, and my goal, my goal at that time, I felt like I needed a partner. I needed a partner to be happy again, and that was my goal. So I went out all the time. I drank a lot. I spent all my money, whatever I had, instead of saving it. But obviously I had to do that to figure out, hey, not a good idea. But when I got to my friend's house, it was still, we had COVID pretty high. And I ended up getting really sick for a couple months. And I had a lot of breathing problems. Tested negative for COVID, but I had something. I was not well for the first couple months at my friend's house. But I did what I could to help out. And then I started to feel better, and then my mom called me one day, and she's like, I can't walk. I'm calling the ambulance. I'm like, all right, well, I'll be there in half an hour. They took her before I got there. And so, because it was COVID, I couldn't go into the hospital. I was frantically trying to figure out what was going on. I didn't think it was all that bad or anything. I figured, she'd just come home. Well, what happened was she was diagnosed with cancer a few years before, and her cancer spread to her hip, and it was deteriorating her hip, and that's why she couldn't walk. So she was in the hospital. I had immediately had to go and stay at her apartment to take care of the dog, Rosie, and just like a rush of new priorities, right? Just when I was starting to try to figure out myself, now I have to take care of somebody else. And it was a struggle. Like, do I step up? What do I do? But I was in the right, because I was divorced and I didn't have to make a decision based off of somebody else's opinion other than my own. Again, out of fear, I was debating back and forth, and like, anyway, I decided that I was going to be my mom's 24/7 caregiver for hospice at her house. That was the goal. And I didn't know how long she would be there, but I took it day by day, and was hoping eventually I was going to get some help. So she was in rehab for, I think it was like a month. So I was like bouncing back between my friend's place, my mom's place, and the rehab all the time. I was exhausted. And I also had to clean my mom's apartment, because if I was going to take care of her, because she was a heavy smoker, and I'm like, wasn't diagnosed with having allergies to smoke, but it definitely does not sit well with me. So I don't like to be around nicotine, cigarette smoke. It's just too much for me. So I had to clean my mom's apartment, wash down walls, do all this stuff. Again, I was the best person for the job, because I had no other responsibilities other than myself. And I don't regret that at all. But it was difficult. And I was scared. I didn't know how long I was going to have to do that for. And again, I didn't know if I would have any help. I just said yes. I made a decision. So I took care of my mom. It was not easy. She was on a schedule of every 4 hours. So whenever she was sleeping, whenever I gave her medicines that made her sleep, I would have to try to sleep. But also try to figure out how I was going to get some help. So it's like, where do you start? And you're like, I don't know. I was never good at paperwork stuff. yeah, it was a lot of unknowns, a lot of fears. That whole story is probably going to come out at some other point. But she has since passed. It's been 2 years. And when she did, I made the decision to not go back to work for a 9 to 5 job for somebody else. I've been freelancing since I got out of college in 1998, and my medium for creativity evolves all the time. And I'm just like, no, I'm gonna concentrate on me. I'm gonna concentrate on me, figure out who I am, and I know that I have enough skills that I could make it work. So, I decided to live mobile. Or I actually decided to go on a tour with my favorite band, Twiddle, for 8 weeks across country. And I just decided that that's what I wanted to do. I want to travel, and I couldn't afford an apartment. So, yeah, I'm just going to live on the road. So, it's been 2 years now. I mean, I've couch surfed, I've stayed at people's homes, I pet sit now, so I have opportunities to be in a home and enjoy the luxuries that people have every day, like a beautiful shower. Like my friends right now, oh my god, they just got a brand new, redid their bathroom, and it looks gorgeous, and I look at it and I'm like enjoying this rain shower that they have, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I get it. Like, I know why people make different sacrifices, right? Different choices. Some people, I don't want to say the easy way, because it's not easy to decide to work for somebody else and be miserable. But people do it so that they can have nice things and have a nice home and have a nice bathroom, and I'm not against that. I am not against work. Just in case anybody thought I was, I work all the time. I'm always working on something. Always working on something creative, and that's my hustle, you know. But yeah, I I I don't mind change. I embrace it, you know, and I embrace new opportunities, and I I'm finding my balance. It's not about having answers. It's having courage to explore, to learn, to grow. And my experiences since my divorce have been pretty amazing. some people, like when I tell them, they're like, where do you live? And I'm like, I say in my car, and then they immediately like, oh, you're homeless. And I'm like, no, I'm not homeless. I live in my car. But that's the decision that I'm making, because my happiness, my, not being stressed, I can't be stressed. I could never have a high stressful job, because I would be in the ground because of my hypothyroid. So I really make it a point to, I try not to worry too much. I try not to stress too much. Obviously, it doesn't happen all the time, but, when I start feeling myself do that, my adrenals go freaking haywire, and I just need to rest. And it, like, literally wipes me out. So I can't do that. It's not an option. I don't want to be laid up in bed all the time. But it happens, and I don't get myself all, I don't put myself down for it anymore, because I know why it happens. It's not that I'm being lazy or whatever. So you have to be okay with your decisions. Just make a decision, and even if you don't know the outcome, just do it, right? Do what makes you happy. But fear, it hasn't disappeared overnight, but I do have less fear, especially after going across country by myself in my car. If you've never done it, and you can for at least a week, I recommend it, but the longer you do it, I think the more you get out of it, because all that solitude really puts things in perspectives for you. Occasionally I forget, but like being in the desert, and I've talked to a couple people about this who have done that, and we all say the same thing. You're in the desert, there's this vast, empty, like nothing around, right? For hours and hours. And you feel like, and then you see these mountains, right? Like in Utah or something, and you feel like a little dust, a little speck, like what's it? Horton Hears the Who. That story. that's like, you feel like that, right? The little baby. Problems don't seem that big when you're in a situation like that. You don't have any problems other than you're hoping that you have enough gas to get out of it. So as long as you have gas and there's nothing wrong with your car, there's no other stress. And honestly, I didn't even think about that. But my friends did say when I was going across country, they're like, make sure when you're driving, you always have a half a tank of gas. So if you go by a gas station and you're lower than that, then make sure that you fill up again. So that was like the best advice. Of course, I didn't take it when I got back. And the one time I ran out of gas, I also killed my battery because I passed out in the car waiting for help for 6 hours, and I was exhausted. Lesson learned. That was a poor decision, trying to push my car more than what it could. Again, that'll probably be another story. But anyway, fear, I still have fear. It lingers sometimes. But like going up a mountain, driving up a mountain, I haven't been able to actually drive up a mountain by myself yet, but I will. I came so close when I was in Tennessee, going up to a watchtower up a mountain, and I almost I could have died, but I didn't. I survived it. I had to make some decisions and right away, and talk about fear. Holy shit. I made the wrong decision at first, but luckily I had enough sense to calm my panic down and try to think more clearly. Oh my god, I think back at that moment and I'm just like, holy shit, what was I thinking? But I'm here, I'm safe. Yeah, I wish I really documented that trip better, my 8 weeks, but also I went halfway across the country to Arkansas from New Hampshire, and that was a trip. Very spontaneous. But talk about decisions. Oh, I'll save that. I'll save that for another episode. But that was a fun trip, and yeah, I want to talk about that probably next. But anyway, fear, decision making, and like the depths of my journey, of the lessons I learned through uncertain circumstances, whether it was like where I was staying or keeping track of the weather, and where I was even going, or why I was going. Anyway, but if I'd let fear dictate my decision, I probably would never have gone across country. If I stayed married, I probably would have never gone across country, because it wasn't something that he was interested, or he was too fearful. So now, not only did I have my own fear, that was hindering me from doing something that, you know, I always dreamed of doing, but I never thought I would actually have done because I just didn't think it was possible. I think that hinders a lot of people. They are too afraid to take the step, or they're too worried about what other people think, or yeah, they're just like scared of the outcome. And you know what? It could be amazing. Or you can have lots of difficulties, but either way, you have a lesson, you know? But I definitely have changed since 4 years ago. I've definitely changed since last year alone. I've learned so much. And I said that honestly in my last episode. It was because of a person. Sometimes people just say one thing, you know, and it just like triggers you, and it could trigger you in a good way, or it could trigger you in a bad way. This particular one was like both actually, but it shaped the person that I am right now at this moment. So, my friends, I say let's embrace fear and not make it a barrier, but a catalyst for growth. Let's take chances, knowing that even if things aren't going to go as planned, we will emerge stronger and wiser. You just take those lessons into the future. Every day is an opportunity to rewrite our story. So we need to embrace the unknown with courage and gratitude. And gratitude is the biggest thing that I have every single day. Having less things to worry about, having just myself right now to worry about, it like when I talk about how I'm living on the road and how like, because people are curious and they ask me questions about it, and like, yeah, I can't do that because I have kids. But there are plenty of people that have kids and that they live on the road. Again, it's fear. It's fear. It's what are you willing to sacrifice? If that's really something that you would want to do, you would do it. Or you figure out a way to do it. I know before my fear was, oh, I was married. But then towards the end, I started getting confidence. And maybe that's why it happened, because I changed. I wasn't the submissive, passive person that he married. Like, I did everything that he wanted to do. Always. He wanted to get a motorcycle. And I was scared of motorcycles. I got on the motorcycle. And I got a motorcycle jacket. And now I'm a biker chick. And, I just think that was funny. But it was an experience, right? That wasn't me. but it was an experience, and I decided that no, I'm not a biker chick. It was anyway. Holy crap. This is a long episode. So, I'm going to leave it here. Much love, big hugs. Have a fantastic day. Thanks for tuning in to Morning Mind Dump with Trie. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your friends. Hey, and if there's any topics you'd like me to dive into, hit me up on social media. Until next time, keep calm, stay creative, peace, love, and doodles. Much love, big hugs.